I'm gonna record it too, just in case something fucks up with the live feed to make
No, of
sure I
course.
have it.
Contingency plans.
Yeah, man. Uh,
And said, "Would you like to leave?"
yeah,
Like,
man.
oh shit.
Trying to make sure you're cool. You're cool.
Consent. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right,
That's
so
funny.
let's get it going. Welcome everybody to Pick Apart the Passion podcast. Tonight, oh man, I, you know, I did like this random thing where I practiced to myself of what I was gonna say for an intro, and that whole shit just went out the window right now. But
Freestyle.
basically it's like this. So, the crazy thing is, when I first heard of who this is, I saw this random video on YouTube, and I think next to it it said Baby Pun or Pun's sons, because I feel like that's what people called you when, like, way back. But I feel like as an artist now, even with the legacy shit that you have behind you, even without that, the music you're making and the punch that you're hitting on the industry, I feel like even without the legacy, you will be doing that because of how dope you are. You know what I'm saying? So
Oh,
tonight
I appreciate that.
we got Chris Rivers in the fucking house. Say what's up to the people, Chris.
Let's go. Thank you for that magnanimous intro. It's like you rehearsed it or something. Totally. Yeah, yeah. For sure, for sure. Yeah, what's good, y'all? How y'all feeling? I can't see anybody, but I know they're here.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, tonight basically we're gonna talk a little bit about you, the history of you, some things that I didn't know after
Hmm.
looking up some things.
Oh, let's go.
And then you got this new record out called Self-Inflicted Bubble Boy.
Yeah, so that one actually came out like during like the really intense part of the pandemic when New York was like really locked down. And I have a project coming as well and some other stuff, but that's the most recent project I released. And the whole from the title of it to the actual making of it, it was very isolated, like self-inflicted bubble boy. Being a bubble boy, yeah, I don't know if you ever seen that old movie Bubble Boy, where the dude had like he had an immune deficiency disorder, so he couldn't leave the
Hmm.
bubble. You know what I mean? Like, so, but I think psychologically we're all trapped in our own bubbles. Like, you know what I mean? Like we're in our own stratospheres as far as how we think, how we maneuver. Like you might have a neighbor that lives right next door to you, but they live a totally different life and know totally different things. We all got our own bubbles, and during the pandemic, we were all like in this bubble and isolated. So the self-inflicted part was really more so, when I get depressed or when I get trapped in my mind or if I get anxious, I tend to isolate myself. Like I have people who would reach out, people who would care, but I tend to do it to myself. So that's where the self-inflicted part comes from. And then from finding the beats, I found all the beats myself. I recorded myself. I built a studio under my bed. I built a loft bed during the pandemic in there. I recorded it myself, shot all the vids on my phone myself, edited them. So I wanted it to feel isolated, even if certain parts were more amateur. Like I could get like a higher videographer and I could not shoot it off my iPhone, but I wanted it to give it that feel of like, yo, like this is done in isolation at whatever skill level I'm at in these areas, and it's gonna be that themed for the project. So it was a very like isolated, thing, but it was for the pandemic for sure.
I mean, well, damn, um that makes this record even more dope to me with that whole
Oh,
explanation behind it. I'm just saying, because so when I first listened to it, there's a couple on the production tip. There's a couple things on the production tip that I didn't expect. So I've heard a lot of your obviously every feature you're on, you murder,
thank you.
like everyone that I've heard. And when you're on your bar shit, you murder all that shit. This feels like a complete, not that your other ones haven't, but this one feels like a complete record, like something like with the songs feel like, like you add your bar shit to it, but it also feels like something that everybody could grasp a hold of, like with the hooks, with the production. That's what this feels like to me.
Yeah. Oh man, thank you. That's how I sound when I because I also isolated my like opinions. You know what I mean? Like, and not just like managerial opinions or like, oh, what they might think or what my friends might think, or even like, yo, what my fans are gonna think. Like, what do other people want from me? And they want me to rap like this. Like, I really just sat there and just made what I felt. Like it was isolated even in the creation process. Where I was like, okay, cool. I'm gonna just go in there and do this. So that's how I sound when I'm finding beats that I just like on YouTube. I'm hitting up YouTube producers like, yo, I like this one. Send the stems for this shit, blah blah. Here's the bread, like whatever it is, and then like and just making the music, like not asking anybody's opinion, going under my bed, put a blanket over me, and recording, and then mixing it down myself, and then sending it. My boy Leftway, he mixed it at the end. I just did a light shit on it. But like yeah, just like with no external opinions. That's just me doing that, and I was happy with like the where I was at because usually I let so many other opinions get in that I found myself being, or I used to find myself being someone that I wasn't proud of musically, where I was
Mm.
just like, okay, I could. I'm at the point now where I'm like, yeah, I could rap my ass off in my sleep, like yeah, like so it's not fun. It doesn't feel like I'm growing. It doesn't feel like I'm expanding my artistry. So sometimes you get caught up in playing a role that you forget who you are, who you want to be. So this one, I was just like, what do I want to do? I'm like, if no one in the world heard this, if this was just for me, what would I make? And it was that.
And it's super dope, man. I mean, like if I listen to raw rugged hip hop in the car, I listen to, lyrical shit. Like
For sure.
that's just the type of person I am if I listen to shit like that. But then I don't just listen to hip hop because you get burnt out doing that. So
Yeah.
so I have a wide variety of things in the car that I listen to, and this one feels like there's songs on here to me that feel like songs that I could just vibe to,
Mm-hmm.
where it like the next song that comes on doesn't even have to be a hip hop song and it would still make me,
Transition.
you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like, and it's dope, man. Like it's dope how you did it.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate the record. We're gonna play a little bit of that a little bit later, but let's take it way back.
Okay.
So when did you find passion for rhyming? For like when do you think you wrote your first verse?
So I wrote my first verse like right after my pops died. And like as a like thinking I'm 27 now. He passed when I was 6. And you know, having vivid memories because I had a lot of crazy shit happen to me. So those moments stick out. And I even remember my mind state. So having vivid memories that I could go back, assess like my thought process as an adult. I'm like, wow, like you can really like pinpoint like little things and like why you were thinking that. But it's all I saw my father do. So I always just thought I was supposed to do it too. So I wouldn't even say that was a passion moment, but like just like I'm a kid, I seen him do this. So and my first rhyme was so trash. It was like you dummy, in my tummy. Like it was some super 6-year-old little stupid shit. And then right after that, I would say like 7 again, and then like I would do it periodically, throughout like adolescence right there. But I really say I would say that I got into poetry passionately. Like I was really into like poems. Like I wasn't right into beats. I like got really into poetry around like 7, 8 years old, where I would just take something like a tree and just try to find a way to view it that wasn't normal. You know what I mean? Like there's this
Mm,
object that has life. You know what I mean? That's there and it's going to be there like after we pass and before we pass. And it literally was designed by the earth to be our counterpart, where we breathe out what it needs and it breathes that in and it breathes out what we need, oxygen and carbon dioxide. And then just knowing that we use it for paper and we use it for, not the leaves, but the bark itself, and knowing that it's fruit bearing, and knowing like, and all these little components, and how could I create like a poem and humanize it? And like, I did that with a bunch of stuff. And I don't know, I just got super nerdy with it, bro. Like, I don't know what happened, but I just got really into words and how they could like mesh together and how could I make it all make sense. And I think that correlated into me, doing it for longer and longer, getting into music. And in high school was really like, then there's lunch tables and niggas playing the beats in the lunchroom and like, you know, on the tables
Oh
and like
yeah.
all this, you know what I mean? Like, so, and then after high school, it really got to the point where it was like, yo, like I've been doing this for so long. I don't want to go to college and just do something like just go to college just because I think I'm supposed to. I don't want to get a regular 9 to 5. Like, what do I actually like? And I was like, yo, fuck it. Let me try this music thing. You know what I mean? And that's when I really started taking it seriously. But I would say my passion was really more so for words and telling stories and just kind of being a nerd with lining things up so that they fit really nicely. And I do that with words and syllables, you know?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's crazy to me that I think you're the first person I've had on the podcast that told me that they started rhyming at 7.
Yo, yeah, well, you got to understand, bro. It's like, you know what it is? It's like, say your pops was like a fireman, right? And like he died, and you saw that's how he like took care of the family, and like, you know what I'm saying, you saw him as the person that you're supposed to be. At least that was your understanding at the time. So you go up to everybody, you're like, yo, I'm gonna be a fireman, right? They're gonna be like, yeah, that's dope. When you grow up, like, you know, you're gonna do that, right? But imagine if there was like, nah, you want to be a fireman? Bet, like, let's get you in there right now. And that's kind of what happened to me, where it was like, it wasn't like, yeah, you're gonna grow up and be a rapper. It was like, oh, where? Okay, well, we got studios, we got all this stuff. Like, let's get you in there right now. So now I'm around rappers, I'm around artists, I'm around this, and I'm being pushed and encouraged to beyond what I feel like a child should do. You know what I mean? Like people coming at me like, yo, you ain't write a rhyme today. Like you're supposed to write raps every day. What you trying to be a failure? I'm like 7. I'm like, you get what I mean? Like, so it was on some Beyonce shit. You know what so it's funny, like. So, but that molded me. You know what I mean? Like I think without that extra push and obligation behind it, I don't think I would have stuck with something so you know, intensive as far as like how many hours you got to put in to get good. I don't think I would have did it that much as a kid if I didn't have all that. You know?
Yeah. Is there a specific time you remember where where something happened that catapulted, that may have been the catapult moment for you to get to where you're at now? Is there a specific
In
thing that
regard
happened,
in regards to what?
like whether it be okay, so right now, I mean, you know, if I go around and I ask people, um have you heard of Chris Rivers, in the circles that I'm around, um like the underground hip hop circles, a lot of people know, you know,
Right. Of
they
course.
know what you're doing, they know who you are. um when I first did a song with you way back, after I had seen the video and then found out like, oh, this is this is Pun's son, this is insane. um it would be dope if I would be able to do a song with him. And
Word.
then, but at that time, when I would tell people that, they're like, oh, he's got a son that raps, like
Right. Right.
and
Right.
like nobody really had known at that
Yeah.
point in time when we had first worked together. But I thought it was super dope. I was like, because around the time when we had worked, you gotta, I mean, I feel like this was maybe 2013, twenty
Yeah.
fourteen, something around there, where we had did a joint. And then when that happened, I feel shortly after that, you were on Rosenberg.
Yes.
And I remember hearing uh, some of the verses that you were doing, and one of them was from our joint on there. Like when you were killing it,
Right.
one of them, and I was like, oh shit, this is dope. This is super dope because I remember seeing that. But but when I first met you, not many people knew. Now more people know. Is there a catapulting
Some
moment, or
defining.
is it just nonstop grind
The
and work up to that point?
I like to say it's a little bit of both. Like, so I like to say like each fan I have, they're like intensely earned. You get what I mean? Like I never had like I was on like a TV show, or I was on like, you know, someone like put me under their wing and like did something crazy, like really, you know what I mean? Like I went to, you know, I toured with the Locks, and I hit up 20 cities where they
Mm.
were booing the person before me, saying we want the locks, and there's all killer niggas in the crowd, and I had to go up there and like, all right, I know y'all want these niggas, but like, and convince them that do a great show, like, you know, where people didn't want me. It was always people didn't want me, or people unexpectedly, you know, got and I think that I grew on a lot of people, and I was able to accumulate it steadily through releasing music, through doing shows, do all those stuff. But I would say a few defining moments where like where I talk to people and I see some consistencies where they're like, yo, like, oh, I know you from this. You get what I mean? I would say the Sway interview, the Sway freestyle, whether the Five Fingers of Death. I know a lot of people. That was one of like the first things I got. That got a couple million. And then the OCD ciphers with on Team Backpack with me, Oswin Benjamin, and Denzel Porter. Doing those, we kind of went viral in the underground hip hop market during that. And a tidbit to that is I actually did a project with Oswin and Denzel called the OCD project that's coming out in December as well. So that's going to be crazy. But yeah, I would say those moments. And then I was also on BET. Like I've been on like some good platforms where I see it spike. You know what I mean? Like certain things spike, but there's not one specific thing where I could be like, oh man, my life changed after this moment. Like, no, it's been a slow, steady burn. Like I've been doing this for, I'm since I was 7. you get what I mean? Like, so, and I'm 27 now. It's been 20 years, so it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, like it's been 20 years and I'm still not where I want to be, but I'm understanding a lot more things differently and how to get things to certain areas. But I would say it's been a slow, consistent burn, and it could be faster depending on how I do things on the back end of business. But for sure, man, like, yeah, this is an earned process. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll speak really quick at the end of what you said. That's not where you want to be. Where do you actually want to be as an artist?
I would say it's more of a energy. I would say like it's more of a perspective and a paradigm than it is a specific thing. But I guess that paradigm only exists if certain specific things are intertwined with it. Like I wouldn't mind I've had shows like I did SOBs or release projects where like I do certain shows and I'm headlining and it's hundreds of people there specifically to see me and they know my lyrics, and that's dope. But I would love to be able to sell out like a 5,000, 10,000 arena, just my fans, just like strictly there to see me. That's amazing. I would usually partner with other people where I could bring maybe 1,000 people, and then the headliner brought 4,000, and then other, you know what I mean? But to pack a 10,000 house on a 20-seat tour and they're all sold out type shit like that to me is like, but what that represents to me is a moniker of success. Like I've been doing this for 20 years where I feel like there's milestones, you know what I mean? Like, and some of those milestones are like, okay, cool. Like people are starting to know who I am, like in my, or like the first milestone is like, okay, like, oh, my friends or people around me, they think I'm dope. They think I could do this. You know what I mean? Or I believe in myself, like the first step. Then you start putting stuff out, you start getting a little bit of traction, you start getting some fans like, oh shit, like, that's another milestone. You do some shows and some people come out, it's another milestone. I'm hitting the milestone where it's like, yo, I could do this. I could financially support myself with this. Nothing super luxurious, but like I could get my own place. I could rent my own apartment. I could get my own car. I could support myself and some people I care about via music, which is a milestone. You get what I mean? Like I don't need, you know what I'm saying? Like, but then there's like the level of life where you're existing, where it's like, yo, this is a thriving, super successful business where it's like, yeah, like I could invest in buying some houses and assets and doing like other, you know what I mean? Like to that higher caliber. So I don't want it to be a business that's doing well. I want it to be a thriving thing. And I think that's where I want to be in it. And it's not necessarily, I don't need to be a millionaire or a billionaire, but I need to know that what I'm doing or what I'm capable of is fully being access and fully being taken out of the music thing, and I'm happy and I'm peaceful. Like I wake up and I'm like confident everything's moving well there. And ultimately, I don't want to be doing music when I'm like 45. You know what I mean? Like I love it. Like I'll do it as a hobby, but at that point, like there's other dreams that I have that I'm so excited about, but I have to finish getting this plate spinning so that it's the seed to these other things, and the seed being my notoriety, the connections that I built, and the financial influx that's gonna fund these other ideas. You know what I mean? So I want to get the plate fully spinning, if that makes sense.
That's crazy. You must have that psychic ability too, because I was literally about to ask you, uh, what age you think you'd be done at. And the thing that's crazy about that is I actually have a close homie that's part of a crew of mine. And the crew's called Hecatone. My dude is named Carnage the
Mm,
Executioner. He's close to I think he's close to 45.
mhm.
And I don't know if he has an idea of stopping anytime soon. So I don't, but obviously, there's a lot of underground heads that I know that I'm around that um that might never get to the point
Right,
in their artist life that they want to. So I don't know if that's what keeps them
well,
going or whatever. But
yeah,
cause I mean I've done shit. You know I've been doing music pretty hardcore for like 26 years.
right,
And the last, I would say the last 5 or 6 years of my career personally has been the hardest I've gone at this shit. Like
right.
and I did it all indie. Like I would
Can you see me?
yeah, I don't know. You disappeared for a second. Oh, there you are. Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
So
Sorry, I was getting someone trying to call me. Yeah, go on.
um
Sorry.
so I don't know if I mean I booked 13 tours in 6 years, you know what I'm saying, for myself, like nationwide tours. I've
Amazing.
I've been able to work with people that I never thought I'd be able to work with, you know what I'm saying? Uh just off on an indie level.
No, of course.
But I'm getting close to
Yeah.
that to
No,
that
but
to
well,
that to that for to that 40,
right.
and I'm still hungry as fuck. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And I think this what it is that like stopping it has such a negative connotation to it where I'm more so saying like where I don't want it to be my part because I peep like it's one of those things like why do you make music, right? And I had to ask myself that and I ask people that too, like are you doing it to be really really famous and get rich, or are you doing it because you love it and what comes from it, right? So like and it sucks because we want our passion to overlap with our career. We want what we're passionate about to overlap with what we're doing to make money and being stable, right? When those two things don't necessarily align up for everybody. I got a boy who does electrical engineering for the MTA, but that nigga loves cars. You know what I mean? Like he's like I'm not gonna make my job cars, but which he can. But he's like I don't want to do it. I'd rather get this stable thing and use this as my hobby. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And that's what I'm saying with this. Where it's like yeah, like I don't think I'll ever stop. Like this is before I was trying to pursue it as a financial means of stability. I was just doing it because I loved it, and I think I'll always do that. More so when I say I'll stop is when two things will happen where I feel like okay, like I don't want to hold up certain aspects of my life. Like, okay, I want to have kids, or I want enough money to do this, or do these things. Where if I keep going as hard as I need to go in order for this to be successful, I can't do these other things. You get what I mean? So there's that stop, and then there's also the stop where it's like, okay, cool, like I've already did this, and it's really like I made my name. It's super dope. Now I want to focus on this next phase, this next project. You have people like Lupe Fiasco, who I think is one of the greatest artists to ever walk the earth, and he's more focused on doing his salsa stuff or even
Yeah.
martial arts or different things like that where you accumulate other interests. Look at Jay-Z, he still raps, but he's more of a businessman. So it's those things. So when I say I stop, like yeah, like I don't know what my cutoff age is exactly. Like I would like to be by the time I'm 30, which is in two years and a couple months. I would like to be at the point where this is a fully spinning ship where I could start where this is already it's such a ball rolling that I could easily start up some other companies and start allocating my other focus to it. Because I would say midway into my 30s, like I would like to, say I have my first kid. I want to be able to be like, yo, like I'm doing nothing for the first year besides focusing on this kid. We're living
I
off of
feel that.
residuals, assets, compounded
Mhm.
interest, etc. You get what I mean? Like shit like that, or even like, you know, oh, I have X amount of millions to invest in this huge idea that I have that's going to be this huge company. Let me put all my focus and my eggs in this basket now, because this already stabilized me that if I woke up tomorrow and was like, yo, I never want to work again a day in my life, me and my family's okay off of what I made off of this. Like, and that's
Feel
kind of
that.
what I, yeah, so I could chase those dreams of without having to chase the hustle at the same time. You get what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. Like I will always do it. Like I'll probably still be releasing verses or writing when I'm 50, 60 years old. Would I be trying to actively pursue hip hop as my primary means of financial stability when I'm 60? I hope not. You get what I you get
Yeah,
what
I,
I mean?
I
Like,
I feel exactly what you're talking about, man. I mean, the thing is yeah, like I do it because I love it.
yeah,
That's why I do it, and that's what it's always been. I mean, if I gain some fame off it, if I gain some finances off it, that's dope. That came with it. You know what I'm saying? But I've since I've been doing music, I've always had my full time on the side.
right.
And when I tell people that, they're like, I thought you did music full time because of how much shit you do. And I'm
Your
like, no,
output, word.
I don't. I actually balance it with that and having two daughters myself.
Right.
It's a crazy balance that I do, but I make it work and it happens, and I completely understand where you're coming from. And yeah, man, I mean,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that's where a lot of artists would like to be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
are pursuing it.
And
So I had
yeah, go on. I'm sorry.
oh no, were you gonna say something? Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say like, yeah, like I'm comfortable. It took me a while to get to the point where when I asked myself that, and I realized like, yo, like I don't need to be this super famous guy. I just love to do it. If it became something where I got all the other things I wanted, where I could be the man that I think is a man in my eyes, take care of my family, take care of mine, not be able to not be held back in any area of my life, whether I wanted to do something, get married, have kids, buy a house, or whatever it is, and I still had this thing I loved on the side, I'm fine with that. You know what I mean? Like people who listens. Like if I made $0 off of music and I was stable somewhere else, I'm okay with that. Like I don't need to be a rich rapper. I just need to be stable and comfortable, and I would do this shit just because I like it. And sometimes I feel like that's better when you let your hobby be a hobby. It's more organic than when you start trying to figure out how to make it make bucks. You start compromising. It's easier to compromise pieces of yourself when that happens. Not saying it always does, you know. But yeah, I
Yeah,
feel you.
yeah, and I mean, the politics and business in hip hop is
It's
ridiculous.
it's redonkulous, bro. It's a lot. There's a lot. We wanted to chop niggas in the forehead.
So I had this random thing I came across that I had no idea about. Uh, you were in this group called Three Down.
Yeah,
I had no idea about that, and Benzino's
dog, it's
son was part of that.
hilarious. Yep, yep. His name back
So
then was Lil Ray Ray.
so
He's Chavo now.
how did this thing happen? Like
So you, so,
because when
yeah.
I read it, I was like, that's weird.
So yeah, no, for sure. It's actually crazy because like we shot a music video and put it out. It's on YouTube. It's called Baby Boo. I encourage everybody to see that. It's the greatest thing you'll ever see in your life. It's fucking hilarious, right? So we actually did a whole entire project that was fire for kids. Like like we was a group. Like it was three of us. It was me, him. He goes by Chavo now. He was Lil Ray Ray back then. That's Benzino's son, who's actually Corey Ray's brother as well. And then there was the other kid named Lil James, who was like the winner of like some singing show at the time, and he had crazy vocals. But nevertheless, like it was one of those things that like I remember early in my career, and I again like looking back, like I didn't see it as a big deal because I didn't understand the gravity of what was happening. But like again, I was rapping at that age, etc. We went in. I think my mom had connections. Like I remember meeting Benzino in like a school auditorium, and like him taking us to was it then was it the Source Interscope or one of those labels, and like me being in the room performing for the label exec, like with just me and the label exec dude and rapping and doing all this shit and like doing that. And then they linked us up in the group, and it was these crazy resources. I mean, like we was performing in state like shows bigger than what I'm doing now. Like we was on the red carpet with Lil Bow Wow. We performing in Puerto Rico
Oh
with
man.
DMX, 15,000 people in a stadium, just wilding. Like that was like I had a label. I guess that's how it is when you're on a label and you're getting pushed with a high budget. We had a $1.2 million deal on the table. Ironically and hilariously, Eminem, growing up, was one of my favorite rappers for a long time. And Benzino and Eminem, after a while, started getting into a beef. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah. Yep.
And
Yep.
and because of that, I don't know the exact details, but because we were minors and there was a clause in the contract that if there was like any like situations that was probably like accessing into violence or like accessory or different shit like that, we had to get pulled out of the contract. So my favorite rapper, one of my favorite rappers, Eminem, is the reason why that $1.2 million came off the table. And it's funny because like I'm like, I always wanted to tell that nigga that one day if I ever met him, but like I'm grateful, like because you know we grew up poor, we grew up broke, like you know, we struggled a lot, but I think that built a lot of character, and I'd rather make it now because back then, like, I mean, like I felt no nervousness. I didn't realize the crowd. There's 15,000 people in crowds. We're just doing it. I feel nothing. I go back, like, yeah, it's just like a job, like cool, something cool that was happening. When I'm older, now I'm like, when I started again, I'm like 17 and like I'm performing in fucking Club Pyramid, paying $50 performing in front of 10 niggas. You know what I mean? Like shit like that. And I'm nervous. You know what I mean? Like, so like, and
Yeah.
going through the trials
Yep.
and tribulations, because now it's like, now it's a choice. Now I'm actively doing that. So back then I was Baby Pun. When I started rapping at the high school, it was my choice. It was Chris Rivers. That's when I changed the name. So, but yeah, man, it was part of Three Down. That whole project never saw the light of day. It's fire. I gotta actually find that. It's so amazing. Like, but yeah, but that one song, Baby Boo, that was on a project. Check that shit out on YouTube when you ever
I'm
get a
down.
chance.
I'm
It's
checking it
called yeah,
right after we're done with
yeah,
this.
yo,
That's what I'm
dog,
doing.
hilarious,
And
hilarious.
if Eminem tunes into this, Chris Rivers
Yeah, of
wants to
course.
have a random conversation.
Yeah, Marshall, it's your fault. Yeah, it's your fault, Marshall. But yeah, dog, it was definitely an experience. Looking back, it's still crazy to me. And I got to see how a label moved. You know what I mean, and how certain opportunities were on the table, and how quickly things could get taken away, and how quickly things could fall through too. So you know, it was a lot of valuable life lessons that I kept with me from
Mm.
that. Even though I was only like 8, I started when I was like 7, 8 there, and it ended when I was like 9. So like it was like a nice little year and a half run of that. And like by the time I was 9, I was already chewed up by the industry, spat
Oh
out
man.
with legal allegations. And yeah, I was like, oh shit, it's hard being 9. But yeah,
I
yeah, it
bet
was
no one
funny.
had. I bet a lot of people ain't got that story.
Yeah, bro, I was paying bills when I was paying rent, bro. I was 8 years old. I was paying rent. Tell me somebody else who did that.
Yeah, man, that's crazy right there. So after all that, let's dive into this project a little bit. So
Right.
self-inflicted bubble boy, you briefly talked about the concept behind it. That's super dope. I wanted to also show love that you always from like I think from seeing the DeLorean project into
Mm-hmm.
uh
Gitu.
the Gitu project, um into this project, you've always had dope artwork. I love the artwork.
Oh, thank you.
And yo, so is it who does the artwork for this project specifically?
So, well, the other ones, shout out to my manager, Scorp, and he owned Air Imagination as well. Like, art companies where he had different people do it. Shout out to Kelvis, he did DeLorean. Shout out to Ariel Cologne, he did Gitu. And my lady, she actually does graphic designs. Again, I
Hmm.
wanted to keep it isolated. I wanted to keep it, you know, and how she was living with me at the time. We was living together, and I didn't want anything from outside the room besides the mix, which I said Leftway mixed it, but no one outside that room was working on. So my lady, she actually did that cover for me, and I loved it. You know what I mean?
That's dope.
Yeah, she drew it right there on her iPad. Shout out to KGMY. Yeah, it was super dope. It was super dope, and she did it quick. Did a few revisions. She drew it up, and yeah, all the covers and the artwork that she on that project she did. So it was dope. Yeah.
That's fresh, man. So
Yeah, but
yes.
it's always a space theme. I don't know if people realize that I'm really into like astronomy in space. So it's always like, yeah, something to do with outer space, and like there's a underlying like story and shit like that. But it's nice, man, to just be a weirdo. I like having weird album names and acronyms like SIBB, self-inflicted bubble boy Civ. Gitu is GITU, greatest in the universe. Like, yeah, I just like being able to be weird and people have to listen to it.
I mean, that's dope. That's dope, man. I mean, it's creative,
Yeah,
innovative
thank
shit.
you.
You know what I'm saying?
Thank you,
Uh,
dog.
so the first joint that I picked off this was Dark Ones.
Oh yeah.
Um, I I actually liked a bunch of the tracks all in a row, and like I said, if we had a bunch of time, I would probably just go through the whole record with you. But
Right.
I just wanted to play a few joints that stood out to me, and we'll talk about them a little bit, maybe how the hook came about to you, or how some of the bars and stuff like that. Obviously, you said this was an isolated project. You
Right.
basically isolated yourself from everything to create it. So that's going to be in my thought process now that we're going to listen to a few of these joints when I'm listening to them.
Right. So
So yeah, so Dark Ones.
right.
Yeah,
it,
I
it
mean,
was
what?
it was it was a little reactive towards I think at that point a lot of the riots, the BLM riots was going on, where it got to the point where it was like first is COVID, the government influx of the fear induction of COVID, right? So everyone's isolated. Then cops killed another one of our people and we start rioting. Now you got people who was just um told to separate. Now you got a massive influx of marches and people in close proximity with one another for this thing. And I see a lot of people. It's back to back tragedies. It's the massive shift in societal standards due to the pandemic and being locked up and having all your mask over your face, potentially losing your jobs, your nights. Everything is different. And then in the middle of that, still having to deal with this racial tension and the murders and the deaths of our people. So it at that point it was like, yo, how do we even feel? You got people getting desensitized. You got like even me, like, I'm so desensitized to the shit now. I'm like, yo, we're so used to it that it's expected. And like after a while, like I had to tell myself, like, yo, like it's all right not to be okay. You know what I mean? And that was the
Mm,
that was the root of the course. Like, it's all right not to be okay. Like, and it's like we're at this point, I felt like I was searching for the darkness. I was searching for the bad comments. I was searching for something that a cop did that was wrong. I was searching for the government to prove that it was full of shit. I was searching for a negative thing. So we be out here searching for the dark ones, like, and the people who resonate with you. Misery loves company. So it was one of those things where it's like, yo, like I wanted to encompass that mind state of like fear, that mind state of anxiety, that mind state of searching for like that your predisposition to thinking something negative is going to happen, and then at the end of it tell like, yo, like it's all right not to be okay. Like you could feel like crazy shit is happening right now. A lot of people was like feeling disappointed with themselves. They gained weight, they lost it. They're sad. I'm like, yo, like crazy shit is happening. Give yourself some slack. Like, it's all right not to be okay right now. Shit is going
mm.
nuts. And that was the concept of that one. And I was just kind of letting all my insecurities and the toxicity out on that. Even the second verse, like, I don't trust nobody. I learned way too much. I'm my like, what I'm saying, like all those toxic thoughts in your mind. I was just trying to encompass that inside of the verses. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's where my head was at during
That's,
making that verse.
I mean, and that's what's up. The thing is when you play this song, do you think that's so? The description leading into it is very in depth, like
Right.
what you just said, very in depth with where the song goes. Do you think if you were to play this, have you ever, real quick, have you ever been to Milwaukee before?
I feel like I did a show in Milwaukee before, but I never got to like explore it.
So like Milwaukee actually is one of the most segregated cities in the US.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's very race divided. I actually live on the north side, and this is the hood over here, you know what I'm saying? But it's
Yeah,
like
it's
all the
crazy.
hood motherfuckers are pushed over here. Like it's so divided. It's crazy how divided it is. You go into the south side, you got all the Latin people on the south side. And then like the only diverse area might be the east side where everybody combines
Congregates.
there
Yeah.
or whatever. but it's crazy how it is, man. Like
That's nuts.
oh yeah, it's super crazy. But yeah, if you ever come out here, I mean, let me know. I will take you around.
Yeah, please. That's how I
but
was in Chicago. I'm like, I need people with me.
I wanted to know if you felt after the whole description, if you felt like you were to play this song, in a crowd of people, because I feel like the whole message you just stated for the song makes it a very powerful song. You know, like
Right.
the idea behind it. Do you feel like if you would play the song in a gathering of people that are standing up for something they believe in, do you think that people would feel and understand the idea behind it just by listening
Well,
to
like
it, by listening to it?
like everyone understands leaves. They might like leaves. Everyone understands fruit. Like they might like eating fruit and like from a tree, but not everybody understands like how the soil works or the roots. Like you can't really see those. Like so
Yeah.
when I felt this, I was conscious of like, yo, like this is how I'm interpreting these feelings and expressing it. But you might not feel the same way I feel about where it's coming from. But I
Mhm.
think everyone had the residual effects of feeling like, okay, I need to be okay, or I have trust issues, or I have these things. Like I think that a lot of people, especially mental health awareness has been a big thing, not only in my career, but as of late, in society. I think people are getting more inclined to understanding the impacts of mental health and, seeing what it
Definitely,
does.
definitely.
So, and a lot of this project is enveloped in mental health awareness. So it's one of those things where like, yo, if you are able to relate to it, which I think most people can, because a lot of people has had anxiety, or whether they're aware of it or not, and has had doubts and has sadness and had trust issues and toxicity in them. And I think wherever it stems from, like our roots may be different, but we're all growing the same fruits. You get what I mean? Like, so it's one of those things where I'm like, yo, I think ultimately, between the beat, the flows, and the vibe of it, because I had people listen to it. Like, I have his name's Angel. He's a super happy dude, and he's like, yo, I could tell he wasn't even like super affected by the substance of the lyrics, but what I love is like, yo, like I just love how the beat came in. I love the flows, like how you rap in the way, like it just sounds dope. And that's the beauty of it, where it's like, and this one I'm like, yeah, I want to make music that just sounds cool, because I made a lot of music before where it's like, yo, unless you really sat down and was trying to really listen to this shit, you weren't going to appreciate it. I'm like, I want you to be able to shut your brain off, and you could just really
Mhm.
mess with the flow and the sound of it. So I think if you can't relate to it personally, which I think a lot of people can, if you can't relate to a person, you're at least gonna fuck with the vibe of it, how it feels, the vibe. You could drive to it, you could smoke to it. You know what I mean? Like, so I
Yeah,
think it
definitely,
resonates. I
definitely.
think it resonates on that level, and then you might be listening to it 5 years from now, and then it's like, oh shit, I relate to that. You know what I mean? Like, but I think it will hit you at some point, as long as you're in the right state of mind for it. Yeah.
Whatever it is. So pick apart the passion podcast. We're gonna play this right now. This is Dark Ones, Chris Rivers. Let's get into it.
Ooh. Hey.
Rose from the shadows, packing the black rose. When niggas act low, I'm in the back row, observing black crows. Keep my circle tight like assholes. I would say pause, but you get more for acting mad slow. Fucking bitches that shallow. Only deep connections on this side. No one needs impressions when we ride. No one keeps possessions when we die. No one sees protection when we lie. No one seems to mention when we cry. No one thinks obsession when there's blessings in their eyes. Wonderful fact, a month or two back, I was running through laps and gunning through tracks, just wanting to crack. Breaking down the pieces with a crumbling back. And who was there? Just me. That's the way it must be. Had to learn to trust me. Keep my thoughts to myself. Still ain't holding my wealth. If you give enough crumbs to these niggas, fall on themselves. Wicked witches will melt. Fickle niggas will dwell. And you giving them hell. I'll be out here searching for the dark ones. The dark ones. When we all fear, just remember we all one. We all want to be okay. It's alright not to be okay, not to be okay. I'll be out here searching for the dark ones, the dark ones. When we all we are one. We all want to be okay. It's alright not to be okay. Not to be okay. Hey, I don't trust nobody. I learned way too much on my mommy. I got way too much on my quaddies. Fuck around and catch a homie. Origami, folding paper, it's a hobby. I'ma probably hit the top of the charts, call me. Go from hoopty to Maserati, my drive match partly. Yeah, I'm from the slums when niggas spit on the bums. I try to shine light on similar suns. We giving crumbs and split it with some. Filling our lungs, villains with guns, couple with badges. We killed if we run, but if we stay still, our wills get killed and we slummed. And that's the average thoughts a corner store runs. I lack the funds to even have fun. I've been focused like, what is you talking about? I sort it out, doing it for more than clout. Luminous before the drought, true in this with all the doubts afforded out. I'll be out here searching for the dark ones. The dark ones. When we all fear, just remember we are one. We all want to be okay. It's alright not to be okay. Not to be okay. I'll be out here searching for the dark ones. The dark ones. When we all fear, just remember we are one. We all want to be okay. It's alright not to be okay. Not to be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's that's, man. So like, I knew the concept based on the hook, but and obviously the lyrics lead into it. But after you described it, I mean,
The context is crazy, right?
It's way different. You know, it's super crazy. It's dope. Yeah, this is an amazing song, man.
Thank you so much, bro. It's funny because like normally, if I wasn't doing the isolated concept, I would have got someone who could actually sing to do the hook. But I was like, yo, let me just try to like, so like it was all like a lot of the songs have it like that where you hear the singing, it's like, yo, it's all me. So I'm doing the best I can. And it's one of those things where like it feels so raw to me like that way. And I just love it. Like
I love it. And it's dope that you do that on this project. And yeah, it's cool to reach out and get, you know, I got a go-to singer that I get when I
right.
But I also do my own harmonies on a lot of my shit. And sometimes people are like, oh, who is that on the hook? And they're like, oh, that's Danko. He did the whole shit. And I'm like, oh shit.
So yeah, he did that shit.
But yeah, and I think it fits. I think it works well.
Thank you, bro.
You know, I think it's cool when artists do shit like this. Like another artist that just comes to mind randomly off top that I know sings on his own shit at times is Chino XL.
Yeah, Chino's nice.
And it's always dope when I hear him do that.
Yeah, man.
So
and I think it's important for spitters like lyricists to be able to access certain tonal things just to expand their range. You get what I mean? Like just so you can even add more inflection when you are rapping, you know? So but hearing it after song, because I haven't heard this project in like at least 6 months. Like I've been working on so much new shit that I haven't dipped back and heard. So here I heard that song for the first time in like 6 months just now. And I'm like, wow, like I was proud of it. I'm like, wow, that was good. That was good.
Well, then let's keep moving a little bit because I want to play 2 more joints, at least 2 more. Get into these a couple fan questions and then you know I'll have you drop your socials and stuff like that. And we'll let you be on with your night. But the next joint is Guards.
Yeah.
And so this one to me felt like what I'm normally used to hearing from you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like some bar shit here and there. And the flow's dope. But yeah, I mean that this one reminds me of something I would normally
it was
hear you do.
It was formatted in that way. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, you know, you give me 20 songs to make, not all of them are gonna be like that, but some will. Like, I still like that style. You know what I mean? And that's how I felt. And plus, I wanted it to have that dark crazy, chaotic feeling because this song was the personification of my paranoia at the time. You know what I mean? Like I'll be on my guards, even it's like the first verse, like, what you don't think I don't notice the subs, like subliminals. Like I'm like a marine biologist. As soon as they seen, they out of it. As soon as they lean upon, like just feeling like when you're over analyzing people and you're getting critical and you're in your head where I might just fuck with you and be a regular cool dude, but because you're paranoid, you're like, oh, everything that nigga said just now, like, me, is he lying? Is he doing this or that? Like, so feeling what do you call it when you're pent up in the house for too long, like, you know, cabin fever and feeling the paranoia with the people around you in your life and like all that stuff like that song, like I'll be on my guards, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm surrounded by sharks, like, so like that song was the embodiment of paranoia, and I didn't know another way to do it but besides like just making it sound real gritty and dark and doing it that way. So I enjoyed that one for sure.
Oh yeah, I love it. Let's get into it right now. This is called Guards. Chris Rivers. This is off the Self-Inflicted Bubble Boy record. So yeah, I hope y'all enjoy this one. Maybe we'll come back and discuss some of the actual bars on this joint. Here we go right now.
I be on my guard, swimming with the sharks, yeah. Niggas try to steal your light, ain't with you in the dark, yeah. Reaching for the stars, thinking with my heart, yeah. Even if they say you lost, don't gotta play the part, yeah. What, you don't think I don't notice the subs? I'm like a marine biologist. Soon as they seen, they out of it. Oh, they just lean the politics. You should get lean like bottled it. That's why I be out of my door in my top of time like a rolling. Niggas be calling me phony, still they be calling my phone. I should just act like they own me, then they go ghost. Ectoplasm, niggas is post. Flex your cap and watching your posts. And your captions never get close, hoping it happens. Why am I filled with such rage? Why am I filled with such sorrow? I should just give it a day. If I feel the same, then I would just kill them tomorrow. Maybe it's me. I know I'm used to being alone. Never got used to being at homes. Niggas is fake, niggas is gnomes. Out of my guards, swimming with the sharks, yeah. Niggas try to steal your light, ain't with you in the dark, yeah. Reaching for the stars, thinking with my heart, yeah. Even if they say you lost, don't gotta play the part, yeah. I've been on my guards, swimming with the sharks, yeah. Niggas try to steal your light, ain't with you in the dark, yeah. Reaching for the stars, thinking with my heart, yeah. Even if they say you lost, don't gotta play the part, yeah. I be on my guards, they like, oh my god. I be avant-garde, things I, oh my god. Try to pull my car, I got sleight of hand. I do Krav Maga, wear my big boy pants. Fuck that ashbagash, and I am not with toxins. I like better odds, yeah. Gotta get even. This is the slaughtering season, following sheep is not within logical reason. That shit is followed by treason. I had to pile up dollars just to get a pot we could pee. And I had to fight with my father, I know when I'm not gonna beat him. Watching my mama get beaten, why he get trusted in niggas who leave. And we really need him, why I don't need him. Ask me no questions, I got no reasons with these dumb ass base level humans. I don't run fast, fuck cash, I'll take retribution if I want that. Fun paths, but hate's next to losing. I got one chance, I'll come back with faith hella boosted on my guards. Swimming with the sharks, yeah. Niggas try to steal your light, ain't with you in the dark, yeah. Reaching for the stars, thinking with my heart, yeah. Even if they say you lost, don't gotta play the part, yeah. I've been on my guards, swimming with the sharks, yeah. Niggas try to steal your light, ain't with you in the dark, yeah. Reaching for the stars, thinking with my heart, yeah. Even if they say you lost, don't gotta play the part, yeah.
I mean, that's you know, another reason why I think I love this is just this reminds me of a beat that I would do something to.
Yeah. Yo, it just felt so like yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah,
that shit come in, it's definitely fun. Definitely fun.
The second verse,
right?
A lot of personal shit in there mixed in with the lyrics. The second verse is very powerful, very strong verse to me. Did you I don't know if you remember if you did it. Did you write did you write both these verses together, or was one here, one there, or did you piece things?
At that time, my writing process is weird. Like I got like ADHD, so I be on some like I need to write to like 5-6 different songs at the same time. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so like I'll be here working on, I might come up with like 8 bars for this, and then my brain just is not into it anymore. So I'll go to this other song and do that. But like they was written definitely within the whole project was made in like 2 weeks. So they was definitely written in like close proximity to each other. But I don't know if I wrote them both the same day. I may have wrote the first verse and the hook and then went on to some other shit and came back and wrote the second one, but it was still in that same,
Okay.
that same world.
Yeah, I mean, I love this joint, man. This joint's dope.
Thank you. And I try to paint a lot of parallels with, it's like some super in-depth entendre shit, but I try to paint a lot of parallels, like even with father meaning government, you know what I'm saying? Like your mother meaning your innocence, and then certain things like just seeing like being betrayed by like from society to family to friends, and like painting all those parallels that you could, you know, again, like you might not relate to it on a personal level, but you have, you know, fear of big brother being the government, or fear of like your forefathers, or fear like all this shit, and just encompassing it in the paranoia mind state where it's like, yeah, like, you know, you can't trust nobody. So that shit was definitely fun and creative, and like a lot of shit I just do for myself personally. I just get excited and like, yo, I might be the only one that catches this, but fuck it, like it's in there, like yeah, like
yeah,
yeah.
I feel you. I say outlandish shit. My girl tells me all the time, "How do you think of things like this?" I don't know.
Right, right.
But yeah, I definitely feel you on that. So this next joint, which it'll be the last joint we play off the project. People want to hear more about it, they can go out and you know, support you as an artist, cop that, and check it out for themselves. And this joint to me might be just the vibe. The vibe of it is fun to me. It's a song that you know, I feel you could just play at any event. You could play it while riding. You could play it at any point in time. It's the song "High Bye." Whether or not it has, you know, a deeper meaning to it, the vibe of it itself,
yeah, it's super good.
It's just a good vibe altogether.
Yeah.
So yeah, describe this one to me, because I love the hook on this. I love the beat on it. I love everything about this song.
Yeah, it was lo-fi. I was definitely in my lo-fi vibes at that time. But I remember that song specifically is funny because I wrote that whole song at like 3 a.m. one day because I had a really bad like depression swing, right? Like, and I don't know if you suffer from stuff like this, but people who do, you know, it's like a swing. So like sometimes, you know, you be good for a minute, when that shit come back around, it's like a pendulum and knock you upside your head. So I had a really bad depression swing, and I was treating myself right. I was all this stuff, and my lady who was with me, she pressed me that day, and she was like, "Yo, like you need to start like, take care of yourself mentally. You need to stop giving up on yourself. You need to focus on what makes you happy. You need to make some changes in your life. Like, you know, I love you. I see you destroying yourself. Like I want you to get better. Like, you know, like step it up for yourself, like type shit." And then, you know, when she went to sleep that night, it was like 2 a.m. I stood up all night and I just like had to get this song out of me. And it was just everything I was feeling at that moment, and encompassing there. And what I loved about it was the lyrics have that meaning, the actual like beat itself is so, the platform for it, the foundation for it is so chill, dope vibes, that I think that contrast encompasses, like, regardless of what I'm going through on the outside, I just kind of always keep a good energy, a dope face, and you can still be positive in that darkness, even what you're feeling. So I just wanted it to feel good and also have that realness attached to it. So when people hear it, it's just like, yo, like not every sad moment got to be sad, and like, you know, you can be okay with shit. But that's one of my favorite ones on the project, hands down, mostly because like it was very, very raw for me to write it, and on top of that, I just had a really good time. I love that beat.
Yeah, I very much enjoy this joint. Like I said, this might be my favorite joint on the record. But I mean, a majority of this record is all, I mean, it's good. It's a good record. It's dope as
Thank
fuck.
you, dog.
So yeah, let's play High Bye. and then we'll come back and wrap things up.
And say bye. Yeah. Hi bye. Then say hi bye. Yeah.
Word up, word up. Hi bye, Chris Rivers, Pick Apart the Passion podcast.
If I could run away, I won't lie. I probably feel the same, cause I really wanna fly. If I could find a way, I wouldn't try to balance out the lows with a little bit of high. So can you say hi before you say bye? One day we'll die, so come on by. Everything that I do is for the love, that's the reason I move. I've been defeated, that's true. I tried to run, but my feet is like glue, and the floor is like lava. Feel the devil at my heels like a nigga wear Prada. Always come with the theatrics, but you don't want the drama. From a place we ain't concerned about grammar, but we look for the commas. And I swear on my mama that you can catch these hands if you swear on my mama. She told me only say bitch if I'm referring to karma. Messed up a couple times, but I'm still finding nirvana. When it comes to matters of the heart, I'm playing my part, but it's been dark. Came full circle just to end where I start. It's all love, it's all peace. Couldn't lose my way if I never lost me. It's all trust, it's all cheap. Chasing all my dreams is the reason I don't sleep. But if I could run away, I won't lie. I probably feel the same, cause I really wanna fly. If I could find I grew up, but fucking screw up. But I'm not a fool, they couldn't rule us. My medulla, product the pool up, product of scooters, pocket the Buddha, ponder the shooters, calmer than cougars. Got like a Kuma, tutor the tutors. I know that sooner than later I'ma be making noise like cruisers, cicadas, cruise by the haters. And remember that the truth is what made us, not the debaters. As we fade away to nothing, I ain't afraid of nothing. I'm not afraid of nothing. If I'm afraid of something, it's that I'm afraid of something. But if I could run away, I won't lie. I probably feel the same, cause I really wanna fly. If I could find a way, I wouldn't try to balance out the lows with a little bit of high. So can't you say,
Man.
Yeah, man.
mean,
Oh, I love that one.
Yeah, that's easily probably now my thing's being weird right now.
It doesn't want to stop
It
playing.
doesn't want to
It
stop
doesn't wanna-
playing. It's crazy. It's crazy. There we go.
There it is. Yeah, no, I love that. It felt so good to hear that, man. And just like, that's what I love about like, fuck pictures. Like pictures say 1,000 words. It's true, but 1,000 words say even more than 1,000 words. Like hearing songs back and going back to that time and seeing how I feel like it's almost like, even though it just happened a couple of years, it's like nostalgic for me. It's like crazy. Like, wow, like I really made that. I felt that way, and it was good. I'm proud of the project from what you've been showing me. Sure.
Oh yeah, man. It's a great project, man. Yeah. So if anybody wants to cop that, definitely Self-Inflicted Bubble Boy. Where yeah, I mean,
I just love hearing people say it.
where can people find that? Is there physicals or is it just digital?
It's mostly, I have like a whole box of CDs on it. But it's in New York. I moved to the West Coast, so I don't have physicals right now. I'll put them up again later as memorabilia for tours and stuff like that. But it's definitely on most or major streaming platforms. You get an Apple Music, iTunes, Spotify, etc. Shit like that. Like definitely stream it as much as you can. Listen to it if you're interested. Yeah, for sure.
And where would you say you're most active talking about your music, your journey, and what you do, where people can follow along with you?
Oh yeah, so I'm primarily on Instagram. I would say that's the one I'm most comfortable with, which is Dragons and Rivers, spelled just like that, Dragons and Rivers. That's where I'm at a lot. I made a TikTok recently because I need to, and it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun being on there. Y'all can follow me on there. I think it's Chris Rivers, or I think it's Chris Rivers. I think so, but I'm mostly on Instagram, and you'll find the links there. So if you go to Instagram, yeah, y'all see everything coming up. Oh, what is it? Yep, it's Chris Rivers. That's it right there. I just started that, so Yeah. Go on.
Have people been using your sounds to make TikToks?
No, so it's funny because on my ladies page, she was on some like she's like, yo, I get my nails done all the time. I want a sound so we can make I could put on for my nails. It's like, fuck it, let's go in the studios, make a nail sound. We're using like little tapping stuff, using her voice and shit like that, all this stuff. And then she filmed the process of it, right? It's like on some like I gotta do nails. It's some funny shit, right? So we filmed the process and we posted the process. Her shit went crazy. Like she got like hundreds of thousands of views off of the process of us making this little song. And people's been using that shit. Like me, like I post like music and little skits and shit like that. But I'm gonna start doing stuff that people could use as sounds. But seeing hers, like that just like, you know, the previous video she had probably had like 500 views. This shit had like 230,000 hits, like, you know what I mean, like just off of, so I'm like, wow, like you could really go, like any upcoming artist right now, like please understand, like you can go viral on TikTok if you're creative. Like definitely get into it. It's one of those things where it's like it feels like another fucking social media app. Like even I felt too old for it, and I was just like, yo, like I got caught in a TikTok hole one night. I'm like, oh, this shit is crazy. And then
I think a lot of people get caught.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it's like, yo, who am I? Like it's like still being on Facebook when Instagram's probably like, I'm not getting on that Instagram shit. Like I don't want to be that guy. So I'm like, you know what? Let me get on. And it's fun. It's dope. I tell everybody to get into it for sure.
Yeah, man. So I had a few people that you know, when I posted that this podcast was happening and having you as a guest on here, I had a few people give me some questions to ask you, just a few little things.
Yeah.
So my dude Michael Salazar out in Chicago, he asked me if you feel responsibility for carrying on your dad's legacy.
Right. I used to, like, especially in the beginning of my career, where I was super like, I gotta prove I can rap because if I'm whacked, then it hinders tarnishes the name and like all the shit. I think as I got older, I stopped giving a fuck, mostly because not because like I don't care about his legacy. I do. It's that I realized I'm like, wait, like no matter how great he was, it doesn't make me great. It makes him great. So that means no matter how terrible I am, it doesn't make him terrible. And no matter how great I am, it doesn't make him greater. Maybe in some people's eyes, like what I realized is that like, yo, like your kids aren't your legacies. You know what I mean? Like they're not. Like it's fun to see it that way, but your kids are themselves and they build their own legacies. Your legacy is handmade and hand tailored by yourself. And you leave behind your legacy, your name, assets, things like that, where they're able to have access, which can help build their legacy, or maybe they step away from it, and that defines their personal legend and the hero's journey. You know what I mean? Shit like that. But yeah, I don't think that his accomplishments makes me any greater or lesser than what I am, and I don't think anything vice versa. So I stopped thinking that I had to uphold it. Now I'm more concerned with making sure that I seeing him leave a staple in this world where people are going to talk about him 100 years after he died. It makes me want to do that as well for myself. And I think the pressure is more so me towards me than feeling like I need to live up to his name, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that definitely. Especially having daughters myself. I mean, that explanation of that was
perfect. Thank you, bro. Thank you.
My dude Aaron Ferrier, he asked, would you be open to collab with more mainstream artists while remaining true to your own style? And if so, who would you collab with and why?
Hell yeah. Hell yes. I don't see why not. I think that it's a career jump and also just fun to have access to that level of artistry and to learn from them. I try to Space Jam everybody I'm around where I'm like, oh, I like that you do this. Let me learn how to do that. Let me know how to do that, you know, vice versa. So I think hell yeah. And being myself is all I know how to be. So I will always be myself, even if I'm stepping into different worlds. And so, you know what I mean? The core of it's going to be me. I would obviously love to do something with a person like Drake just for the sake of going fucking nuts and viral and seeing how that would sound. I'll even do something with someone like Lil Nas X, just the same thing Jack Harlow did, where I was like, yo, great political move, because that nigga right now, he goes viral for everything. I would obviously, on a personal level, I would love to do something with like someone like the J. Cole and the Kendrick and the people right now that I think that are holding it down lyrically for our generation, because I think I'm going to get a lot of core fans from their demographics. I think that my demographic would overlap with a Kendrick or a J. Cole demographic where those people would stick around and appreciate me for me as well. And then you have, some people coming up now, like, I'll do it with, like, ultimately, like, the way I came up, like, I've done thousands of features, I've done thousands of records, I've been on all types of shows and different stuff where it's like, I learned how to make all types of music and music everyone. Like, I'm with it. Like, it's only going to benefit my career, and it's going to put me, even if I'm in a position where I'm uncomfortable, like if I did a song with like Billie Eilish or like Dua Lipa, like, or like Taylor Swift, where it's like, okay, how am I going to approach this that I still sound dope? And I think that challenge is going to just be fun for me. So to push myself artistically and to also put my career to the next stratosphere, I would 100% do that. 100% do that.
Yeah. Word up. That's what's up.
Yeah. Who wouldn't? Like,
yeah. Well, so there was one point in time where, the more I think about it now, it would be fun to just do it. Like, to just work with anybody and bring my own shit to the table and see what we would create. It would just be fun to do it. You know what I'm saying?
mm-hmm.
I think there was at one point in time earlier on when I was more less open. Because there was a time earlier when I was less open. I was a hardcore battle MC type head, straight about like ripping people's heads off on
a traditionalist.
Shit. Yeah. And like around that time, I would be like, nah, I'm never working with that whack ass dude.
Yeah. No, I feel, it's my father broke records, I think, when he came out the first year, where he had the most like collaborations, the most like featured artists, and his philosophy was like, like, as long as I do a great job, regardless of like what you know what I'm saying, like. And I learned shit from Styles P as well, where he's like, like, if you ever like, if we compare what we do to weapons, he's like, I got a gun, I rap like a gun, and you rap like a sword, right? But I got a lot of people who listen to me for that gun shit. So if you hop on a record with me, you can use a sword, but I got a bigger following. You should use a gun on my record and show people how you use a gun crazier than I do. You know what I mean? Like, and it's always an opportunity for you to expand it. And I get that, because there's some artists whose fan bases are super protective. They're like, oh, like, once he goes mainstream, we're out of here. Like, we want him to be the underground dude that nobody knows about besides us, so that he could be, you know what I mean? Like, oh, they changed up all the shit. But I'm at a point in my career now where it's like, like, I had that fan base too, but now it's so mixed, like after Gitu and SIBB and other stuff, and just things I do now, where people just love seeing me be myself and be successful enough that, like, it's not going to hinder me. If I lose 10, I'll gain 100. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm at that point now where it's like, it's feasible. I get what you're saying though. In the beginning, I was like, oh no, like, they're gonna jump. I'm like, y'all niggas ain't paying my bills. Like, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, come on, son. Let's just go.
And then here's the last one from Craig Mosher. He's actually out in Maine, and he asked, "What's your favorite pun song or verse?"
Oh man, that's so fucking hard. For a long time, I always say this one, even though it changes all the time. Like, there's some verses that he has that are just like outrageous. You know what I mean? Like, between Super Lyrical and like even Dream Shatterer and like different ones. Even him, like, there's a shit called Money Heist, or The Heist, where he's talking about like a robbery and like him going crazy and like just nuts. But I always use this one because it's called Rhyme for Rhyme. It's a verse that he had. It's a song that he had with Cormega. He's what a verse is like. You know what I'm saying? Like Belladanic with lyric. That you gotta hear that one. It's not only is it fire lyrically, of course. He probably has other songs that top it, but it's the nostalgia of that one, the personal feel. Because I remember when he passed, I was listening to his music for a bit, but then I stopped listening to his music. I don't know if it was painful. I don't know if it like I just didn't fully understand, because I always knew he was dope, but like I was listening, he passed when I was 6. I would listen to his music till I was like 8 years old. And after 8 years old, I just stopped listening to his music till I was like 11, 12, right? I got really into like rock and like other stuff. And then when I was 12, I was super smart as a 12-year-old. And I started really grasping, everything. So like I listened to that song. That was the first song that came on. And I heard that shit. His verse came on and I started like tearing up. Like that was the first time I heard his voice in like 4 or 5 years since he passed. And I was listening to his shit right after. And like just hearing how I think that was the first time in my life where I grasped how incredible he was at what he did, because at that time I was writing too, poetry, rhymes. So I had a deeper understanding of what it took to pen a verse. And yo, I was just blown away by the entendres, the delivery, the syllables, the imagery in it. Like, and yo, I teared up, like not only hearing my father's voice, but acknowledged, like that was the first time I felt and understood, like, yo, this nigga was incredible at what he did. And it filled me with pride and sadness and joy, all these emotions at the same time, where that verse holds a special place in my heart. Even if there's other ones that's better or I might like at a certain moment, that one always holds a special place in my heart for what it did for me at that moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I mean, there's a lot of people that there's still talk about it to this day, where he basically a lot of people, he started something that now a lot of people do now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And people still talk about that to this day, where nobody was doing what he was doing at that time.
Right.
Um,
Right.
So
And you have the verses like the Dead in the Middle of Little Italy. Like everybody knows that part and it's iconic. But when you listen to his second verse on that shit, he's going ham. And I'm like, yeah, that part stands out more to the average listener because it's a tongue twister and it's cool. And like, but when you really appreciate lyricism and you listen to that second verse, it's just like, yo, you're nuts. Like, what is wrong with you? So like, yeah, so I just be geeking out. I just be geeking out. Yeah.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. Yeah, this was fun, man. Having you on here talking about the project, breaking down some history, getting a couple people to ask you some things that
For
hopefully
sure,
they got answers for.
Yes.
So before we head up out of here, what's next? What do you all got going on?
Yeah, for sure, man. Like I said, everybody follow me, Dragons and Rivers on Instagram. You get updates on stuff. I would say the next big thing that I'm going to start promoting, and that's coming out soon, probably around December, is the next project. It's called Apophenia. It's with me, Denzel Porter, and Osmond Benjamin. It's the OCD project. Tony Chalk, amazing producer. He produced the whole thing. And yeah, this is a really, really, really great project. It's like really amazing. Super proud of it. Got a few videos shot already. We're probably going to start roll out next month or so. So everybody keep your eyes peeled for that. And like follow my socials. I got a bunch of stuff coming starting next month. I'm also releasing like a single every month, not only from the project, but just in general, just to have more music coming out consistently and stuff like that. So everybody just, stay tuned. Got a bunch of stuff coming, both musically and outside of that as well. So definitely.
Dope, man. I look forward to checking that out. So yeah, let's leave him on this outro. This is Chris Rivers. This has been Pick Apart the Passion podcast, where it's best to pick apart yourself to get to your passion. And this has been brought to you by Cypher Dem Music, Jab Kai Media. Shout out to my dude Rambunctious, who is the creator of Pick Apart the Passion podcast. And to leave you with this, what his father would always say is it better to be right or kind? And we'll leave you with that. And much love, Chris Rivers. Thank you for being on the show.
Love, bro. Thank you.
I'm your host, Tayamu Denku. Holla at you. Peace.
Deuce. All right. Thank you, dog. That was fun.
Thank you, man.